So does anyone else realize we're kind of having a repeat of last year April, movie-wise? I mean, think about it. We have a video game movie that got released on the same exact weekend. There's a comedy starring Nicolas Cage and a movie about a vampire. Everything Everywhere All at Once is still showing in some theaters. And speaking of which, there's a bonkers A24 movie out in theaters right now. There's an original anime movie out in theaters right now, but the one from last year was a Fathom Event one. And now, there's also an action film starring Jake Gyllenhaal. You get what I'm saying, though? Guy Ritchie's The Covenant is obviously directed by Michael Bay and stars Jake Gyllenhaal as Sergeant John Kinley and Dar Salim as Ahmed, his Afghan interpreter. The story is basically that Ahmed saved John's life after an ambush, but when John is sent back to America, he finds out that Ahmed and his family were not given safe passage to America as promised, so he must repay his debt by returning to Afghanistan to get him before the Taliban does. The movie's strong point really is the two main characters, their relationship, and the great lengths they'll go to for each other when one of them is in trouble. The acting from our two leads is also really freaking good, especially Jake Gyllenhaal. I think his best bits of acting definitely come later in the movie, where he's just fighting to get this man over to America, and nobody's wanting to cooperate with him, and he's just losing it because he feels guilty for the stuff that this guy now has to deal with over in Afghanistan after he helped him. And speaking of which, I did love the choice that Guy Ritchie made to have this movie be told in kind of two different halves. One half where Ahmed has to save John, and the other half where John has to save Ahmed. Dar Salim is also really great as Ahmed. I don't know this actor from much, but I did like how he starts out as someone that John is questioning if he can trust him or not. And there are some really tense situations that these two are put into, to where they really have to rely on each other because they don't know who they can trust. Because some people really want to help, and then others just want to see them dead. And it's like that through the first half of the movie. The movie does have pretty good writing, and Guy Ritchie's directing is still really great. I have really liked it how recently he'll do like an action comedy, then a thriller, then an action comedy again, and then a thriller. It's kind of a good back and forth with his movies. Oh, and then Aladdin. The movie also has some absolutely great cinematography. There's a lot of crane shots, aerial shots, and all of them just look perfect. This would probably look amazing on an IMAX screen. I actually really enjoyed this movie much more than I thought I was, and I really only wanted to see it for a review, but that's why I go see everything, because you might be surprised by something you didn't care to see. It's a great army thriller with some good performances, wonderful cinematography, and it keeps you invested in these two's story throughout. If you missed it this weekend, I highly recommend checking it out. I'm gonna give The Covenant an A-. And yes, it was better than Operation Fortune. I don't even remember that movie much either. And it was a good thing they decided to put Guy Ritchie's name in the title for this movie, because if you go on IMDb, there's like 50 movies called The Covenant. Thanks so much for watching, you guys. Subscribe to my channel, like the video, turn on the notification bell, and I'll be back with more reviews very soon. See you then.